Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Dark Magician of Chaos deck profile. So this deck is a really cool deck that basically uses the Magician of Chaos along with the Magician of Black Chaos to make a really insane deck. It does use the Dark Magician engine as well, which is a really cool thing, but I wanted to build a ritual-based deck that's basically summoned out the Magician of Chaos from the deck, because this card is insanely good and really, really cool looking. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon because we have some awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name description from every single video, getting to request a deck profile just like this one every single month, or even getting a signed card sent to you in the mail. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Magician of Chaos. So Magician of Chaos is a really neat ritual monster that has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, and this card's name becomes Dark Magician while on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, when a spell, trap, or effect is activated, you can quick effect target a card on the field and destroy it. And if this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon a Chaos or Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from your hand, except another copy of itself, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is an insanely good effect to be able to just get out your Magician of Black Chaos or the other tech card that I'm playing in this deck. So then we're going to be playing 2 copies of Magician of Black Chaos Max. So you don't see this card in a lot of deck profiles, but I really worked around with this deck a lot to actually make it so you could summon both of these consistently in this deck. And with the new support, well, the relatively new support that came out of Legendary Duelist 6, it makes it a little easier to actually summon this card. So what it does is you can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, and if this card is special summoned for any reason, you can tribute a monster on your side of the field, and then your opponent cannot activate monster effects this turn at all. And then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a spell card in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. You can only use each effect of Magician of Black Chaos Max once per turn. This card is insanely good at getting it out on your opponent's turn, and then immediately just tributing one of your monsters on your side of the field, and then just making so they can't activate any monster effects. Now, there's a really neat way to summon this card to your side of the field, which is really, really cool, because you can ritual summon, you can summon it with Secrets of Dark Magic, because it says ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. So you can summon this card with that card, which is really cool to be able to do, and it's just easy to do. So then we play a single copy of Blue Eyes Chaos Max. So yes, we're playing Blue Eyes and Dark Magician in the same deck, which is really cool to be able to do. I love being able to do that, and we have plenty of ways to actually summon the Magician of Chaos besides with that quick play spell. But you can actually use Chaos Form, Advanced Ritual Art, or even if you use Advanced Ritual Art, you can send to your graveyard a single copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon to summon either one of these, which is really cool. So that's it for the rituals. For the other monsters we're playing 3 copies of Dark Magician. Dark Magician's really good in here because you can just send it to the graveyard to summon your copy of Magician of Chaos, and you can special summon it back with Eternal Soul and stuff like that. And plus, he is the ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense, so you need to play him at 3. Then we play a single copy of Blue Eyes White Dragon. I'm actually playing these artworks. You guys might be like, why are you playing those artworks? But the reason I'm playing these artworks is because I use different artworks of Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician in every single different deck. So this was the only artworks I hadn't used so far. So, well, some of the only artworks that I hadn't used. But you play this because it's an advanced ritual art target to summon your copy of Blue Eyes Chaos Max. And so that's the big reason that you play this in the deck at all. And plus, it's really cool to be able to play Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon in the same deck. I mean, you know that's kind of cool. So that's it for the vanillas. For the effect monsters that we play in here, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Apprentice Illusion Magician. You just discard a card from your hand to special summon her from your hand. And then when she's summoned, you get to add a Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. And then during damage calculation, if a Dark Spellcaster monster battles, you can send her from your hand or field to the graveyard to increase that monster's attack by 2,000. We play 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. Manju of the 10,000 Hands adds a ritual spell or ritual monster from our deck to a hand upon normal summon, which is really helpful for the consistency of the deck. 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod, when it's normal summon, you can add a spell card that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text. And then during your opponent's turn, if your opponent activates a spell or trap or a card effect while this card's in the graveyard, or if you activate a spell or trap while this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute a spellcaster monster to add it back to your hand, which is really cool. And then yes, it is a Dark Magician deck, so you are playing 3 copies of Magician's Soul. You need the Magician Soul in here for consistency reasons. If you can't get the Magician Soul, you could potentially cut it for some other cards in here, maybe some Called by the Graves or something like that. You potentially could cut it. It does help me a lot when I do need the consistency of the deck, but you could change it out for Fusion Deployment. You could change it out for Call by the Grave. There's a couple of different options that you guys could change it out for to make the deck a little bit more budget. But what this card does, if you guys are unfamiliar, is you can send up to 2 spell and traps from your hand or field to the graveyard to draw that many number of cards. And then, if this card's in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the graveyard to activate one of these effects. You either special summon it from your hand or send it to the graveyard, and then you can special summon a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your graveyard. So, that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. So, for the spells, just saying, still pretty cool that we can play Dark Magician and Blue Eyes in the same deck. That is just crazy. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant is really cool because what this card does is it lets you place 1 card on the top of your deck, from your hand, deck, or graveyard that specifically lists Dark Magician in its name or Dark Magician Girl, or put a Dark Magician on top of your deck. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard to draw that equal number of cards, equal number of Paladinium monsters, Dark Magician, and or Dark Magician Girls with different names in your graveyard or on your field. So the maximum amount you're going to draw in here is like 1, because you don't play that many, you don't play Dark Magician Girl and you don't play any Paladiniums, but the really cool thing is stacking the deck, and being able to banish it to draw a card is still pretty good. We play 2 copies of Secrets of the Dark Magician, which is a fusion spell and a ritual spell for Dark Magician, which is really cool. Let you ritual summon a ritual monster from your hand by attributing monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl, whose total level equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster, or fusion summon a monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including Dark Magician and or Dark Magician Girl's fusion material, which can let us go into our copies of the Dark Magicians, which is really helpful to go into. Then we play 2 copies of Chaos Form. This card lets us ritual summon by either sending cards from our hand, field, or banishing Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard to be able to go into one of our Chaos monsters, which is Blue Eyes Chaos Max, the Magician of Chaos, or Magician of Chaos Max, which is basically the fusion or the ritual monsters that we're going to be going into using this card. We play 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art. The Advanced Ritual Arts help us out going into our other monsters as well. Basically, you just send a vanilla from your deck to the graveyard to summon the one with the same level, because this card says this card can be used to ritual summon any one ritual monster, and you must send normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard whose total level equal or exceed or exactly equal the level of the ritual monster. So, for instance, if we activate Advanced Ritual Art and we have a Dark Magician in our deck, and you want to summon out your Magician of Chaos, you just send the Dark Magician to the graveyard and then summon your copy of Magician of Chaos. You can also send Blue Eyes White Dragon to the graveyard, for instance, to summon your copy of Blue Eyes Chaos Max or your Magician of Chaos Max, because they're both level 8, which is really neat. Then we play 3 copies of Pre-Prep or Preparation of Rites. You don't play Pre-Prep because none of them are specifically listed on the ritual spell, so you can't search them with Pre-Prep. But Preparation of Rites lets you add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can add a ritual spell card from your graveyard to your hand, which is basically your Advanced Ritual Art or your Chaos Form, which comes in super handy to be able to get them back, to be able to ritual summon multiple times. If you open up a ritual monster, if you open up any ritual monster plus Advanced Ritual Art and the pre-prep, you've pretty much got 2 ritual monsters on the field at the same time, which is really neat. Because all you need to do is ritual summon the first one using Advanced Ritual Art, activate your pre-prep of Rites, get one from your deck, and get your Advanced Ritual Art back from the graveyard, and then activate it again, and then summon your second Magician of Chaos, or your copy of Magician of Black Chaos Max if you had it in your hand, or Blue Eyes Chaos Max, depending on what you had in your hand. For the other spells, we're playing 3 copies of Dark Magical Circle. Dark Magical Circle lets us add let's look at the top 3 cards of our deck, and then reveal a Dark Magician or a card that specifically lists Dark Magician in its card name, which is really neat to be able to add it from deck to hand. And when we special summon a Dark Magician to our side of the field, we banish a card on the field, which is super nice. This card works really well with Soul Servant because it lets you stack the deck with Soul Servant, and then you activate Magician's Circle, grab the exact card that you wanted to search out of the deck, which is nice. And it just makes Soul Servant's value even more. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just playing 3. I actually cut Magician's Navigation down to 1 in this deck, and I play 2 Eternal Souls instead of 3. Magician's Navigation is not quite as live in this deck as the pure Dark Magician build because you're not playing as many monsters that you can special summon off it. If you do get that Dark Magician in your hand, then you can special summon a second Dark Magician from your deck. But it doesn't come up all that often in this deck, so I did cut it down to 1 because of that reason. You can summon your Apprentice Illusion Magician or Dark Magician from your deck. So it's usually live, but I just play it as a 1-of because you can search it. And it's, again, not quite as live in this deck. And then Eternal Soul is really neat because every Dark Magician monster on your side of the field is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And if this card is face up on the field, leaves the field, you destroy all monsters you control. And then once per turn, you can special summon a Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard. We don't play any of the cards that can search off this, like Dark Magic Attack or 1,000 Knives. You just don't need them. So I don't play them. You can side in the copy of Dark Magic Attack for like a Magician's Soul if you want to go that route, but I really don't feel like you need it in this deck. So that's it for the traps, guys. Let's get into the actual extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of the Dark Magicians. The Dark Magicians is really neat. I only ever really find myself, when I play test this deck or play with this deck at all, I only ever find myself going into this card maybe once. But it does come up sometimes where you go into it twice, so I do recommend 2 copies of it. Because what this card does is you can use a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl plus any one spellcaster monster. So you can use Dark Magician just to go on this card with any other spellcaster, which is super neat. And then once per turn, if a spell or trap is activated, then you can draw a card. And if this card... if it was a spell or trap card, you can set it. And if it was a trap or quick play spell, you can activate it this turn. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon both one Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Comes up sometimes, don't really come up that often. 1 copy of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Now this is the one I summon all the time in this deck, but you really only need 1 copy of it, because you're only ever going to go into this one once. I only ever find myself going into this card 1 time in this deck. If I draw into my copy of the Fusion spell, which is the Secrets of Dark Magic, I go into this card because you can just really easy use a Blue Eyes Chaos Max or a Blue Eyes White Dragon that's in your hand that you can't use for anything else. You just Fusion summon in this card and it's a really good beat stick. Ebon Illusion Magician is super nice because you can detach a material to special summon a vanilla, which is super neat. And if the vanilla attacks, you can banish a card on the field. 1 copy of Ebon High Magician. It comes in handy. It doesn't come up all that much, but it's kind of nice. Like, you don't super need the extra deck, but it comes in handy with the 1-ofs that you play. Like, it's a lot of situational stuff. 1 copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal, because if we're going to play Yugi and Joey, or Yugi and Kaiba in the deck, we need Joey in here too. So we have the Flare Metal just to add that extra flair to the deck. 1 copy of number 11 Big Eye. Number 11 Big Eye lets us take an opponent's monster. Now, this is a card that I use a lot in the deck because you just use 2 Dark Magicians and then take an opponent's monster. Boral Sword, just to be able to OTK. Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. Now, we're getting into some nostalgia now. We have Blackluster Soldier, Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, and Dark Magician in the entire same deck, which is crazy cool. But the Soldier of Chaos is super neat because it has multiple effects that it can either gain 1500 when it makes a second attack during each battle phase or banish a card on the field. And if you use a level 7 or higher monster as a material, then your opponent cannot target it with card effects. That comes in really handy. And it also, we play a single copy of Unicorn just to bounce stuff, Phoenix to pop spells and traps, Wee Witch because the entire deck is pretty much dark. Cross Sheep comes in handy as well because Cross Sheep is super nice because the 2 best effects of Cross Sheep are the Fusion and the Ritual effects, which the Ritual one lets you draw 2 and then discard 2, and the Fusion one lets you special summon a level 4 lower monster from your graveyard. A single copy of Link Rebo. The Link Rebo comes in super handy because you can just link into this with a Magician's Soul and then go into this card. And then a single copy of Relinquished Anima. Now we have the complete original, like, cast monsters. So we have a Karibo, we have a Relinquished, Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Blackluster Soldier. Can we get a like for that? Come on. That's pretty cool that we play all the original retrained versions in one deck. So also you get to target one face of monster your opponent controls and equip it to this card, but it has to point to that monster to be able to equip it to this card. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really cool deck, and it's a really cool concept that you can play all these nostalgic retrains of really cool ace monsters from Duelist Kingdom. And we have some really cool, like, combos with this deck. Like, getting Magician of Chaos on the field is really cool because you can just pop stuff. The Blue Eyes Chaos Max is kind of like the sword of the deck that you just OTK your opponent with, and you never know what you're going to get with the deck. I mean, sometimes you'll get Magician of Chaos out on the field, sometimes you'll get Magician of Chaos Max, sometimes you'll get Blue Eyes Chaos Max. A lot of times I'll just end up with a bunch of Magician of Chaoses on the field and just be able to pop stuff left and right. So, anyways, guys, that's it for the deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on this to become part of the notification squad, and definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. See you later, guys.